Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of MDsXclusyvPistons. Today we're shooting the latest generation of the i20. We've got my i20 Asta optional, that's a turbo variant. That was the top model, top variant when the time I bought the i20. This is Kez's i20, that is the N line. This is the top model, top variant right now. And let's see the real differences between both the cars. I've been using Kez's car for about a week now. I've driven it about 300-400 kilometers, which is pretty good for me to judge the car. And this car in particular, the one I own, I've driven it about 70,000 kilometers, so that I can give you a complete review on how good is the i20 and how practical is the i20 to daily use. Let's check them out. Let's talk about the N-line first, and we'll start with the exterior differences that are there on the cosmetic bit of the car. Very clearly, the front grille, as you can identify, is different on both. This has got the N-line grille with the N-line badging, whereas we've got the turbo badging, and that's the turbo grille. This grille is also particularly only on the i20 turbo and not on other i20s, which are not the top model or the top variant. Then we've got a different setup of the splitter. Then we've got a different bumper altogether, with the bumper design being different, has more of aerodynamic lines and everything here. So this is the basic difference in the front. The front only has the bumper a bit different, the grille a bit different. Then let's come here and see the difference in the alloys. So we've got a diamond cut alloy on both the cars, but the i20 Asta has the Hyundai logo, this one has the N-line logo and a different design pattern. Then talking about the side skirt, both our cars have got some side skirts, both our cars have it, and this one has the red accents on it and our car doesn't. Coming to the rear, so the beam on this, the beam cover here is different on the N-line, more sporty with the N-line roof spoiler as well. Then particularly Kez's car is also tuned by Super Chips. It's a stage 1 tune by Super Chips. And this i20 also gets an N-line exhaust system, N-line exhaust setup from the company. So there is a very evident difference on the back that the N-lines do not. The N-lines have an exhaust system and the Asta don't. So this is pretty much basic cosmetic difference. And talking about the interior also has a lot of differences. This is black and red and everything is different here. So that is pretty much about it on the differences on the cosmetic bits. Then if you want to just say and know the differences on the back, so this beam, our beam cover is not so sporty. We don't have a roof spoiler on the back. We don't have an exhaust cut, though we have the diffuser. I told you that both the cars have the diffuser, side skirts and everything as the same setup, but everything in detail, if you look closely into it, has a lot of differences. So talking about these differences don't cost you much. I paid about 13-35 when I bought my car a year ago. I paid 13,35,000 for the Asta optional top model, wherein the N-line came in later, 6 months later after I bought the car. So the N-line came in for about 14 lakh rupees. So not much of a difference, just about 65-70,000. But that 65-70,000 has made a lot of difference on that car, and can evidently be seen that there is a difference in the N-line and the Asta top model. Though there is not much difference in the pricing, I ended up spending about 75,000 just to get my fancy number, the number of my choice, 456. If I wouldn't have done that and would have just bought the N-line, could have been the same story. But sadly, when I was buying the car, that particular moment, Asta optional was the only top variant available, and N-line was not even in the pictures of coming to India or not coming to India. So that is the reason we couldn't get our hands on the N-line, and I had to buy the i20 Asta optional. It's a perfect daily driver, perfect car to use in the city where we stay. We drive to Bombay a lot. I have to drive to Bombay a lot. And one more difference that I've just spotted is our side skirts have i20 written in them. The other one, the N-line, doesn't have anything. It just has the red accents. And also we've got the chrome door handles because it's the Asta top model. And here we've just got the body color. So these are the evident differences that are there in the car. Now I'll talk about the performance difference, how different is the N-line in performance, how better it is than the Asta. So I've used, as I told you, I used this car for about 300-400 kilometers. My genuine review of this and this is extremely different. This is a very, very soft, very, very agile and a very comfy i20, whereas this is a bit rigid, bit stiff, got a different setup on the suspension because of the N-line, and moves better because of all of that, and gives a very confident driving feel, driving pleasure, that when you're maneuvering around in the traffic, just cutting it, so it gives a very confident feeling in this one because of the suspension setup. So talking of all of this, and you've seen all the live comparisons, there are a lot of differences in the interior, as I said, and I did not show you. Just check that out once. So we've got N-line crested on the seats with all the red around it. We've got the N-line gear knob. Then Kaz has also put the steering wheel, like he's just upgraded the steering wheel, Alcantara CF, just like our A-Class. And then the exhaust is not so loud, like honestly speaking, not that loud, and it is just a basic hum and a bass that I'll just show it to you. So as you heard it, guys, it's just got a very silent bass, silent hum in it, and the i20 Asta on the other side doesn't even do this. It's very silent. That car in particular is way too silent. When I was new to that car, when I was adapting to the car, there had been times where the car was on, the car was switched on with the AC and everything working, but the engine on that is so silent that I couldn't realize the car is on, and I accidentally switched it off thrice, thinking the car is off. So yeah, that is how good the i20s are and the refined they are. We've got Immi on call once. Hi, Immi.
Cause we be on a tough love. Oh, we feeling so high. Don't be afraid of falling, cause you know we gon'
So let's talk about this driving now. The driving differences in both. So evidently the only difference that I feel in both the i20 is this one is way too rigid, way too rigid. Like the suspension setup is stiff. The suspension setup on the i20 that I own, the Asta, is very soft, and on this one particularly, the N-line shocks, the N-line suspensions are a bit stiff, so that you get a better handling experience, a better driving experience, and pretty much about it. Nothing else is difference. There's no other difference. I mean, the screen is the same, the Odo is the same, the buttons all over here are the same. The only difference is the steering wheel. The steering wheel has got the N-line badging. Kaz has particularly done this very neat job of Alcantara CF, and it feels very nice, just like the A-Class that we have. This one particularly being tuned has a quick response, like a very quicker response than our i20, and the tune does the difference and does the job of making the car quicker. And yes, the tune is very evident and very evidently different, and gives a very good driving experience altogether. Being a compact car, a hatchback, an Indian hatchback to daily drive, a very peppy car, it's got a very good refined 1 liter petrol. Both the cars have got 1 liter petrol turbo. Just the tune difference done by Kaz, not by the company. So this one is about now making roughly 135 to 140 horsepower, and the stock i20 N-line and the stock i20 that we own makes about 121 bhp, as the company figures say. So pretty much about this, and this one's got paddle shifters as well, and plus Kaz has put the extended paddle shifters for more comfort on the shifting. This is pretty much about the N-Line. Now let's drive my Asta and tell you what my Asta feels. And I can talk about the Asta a lot because I've driven it about 70,000 as I've told you guys. So let's drive the i20 Asta.
I'll fly, 'cause we be on a tough love.
As you can see, we've not got the flat bottom steering on this. The steering controls are a bit different. The steering is altogether completely different to what Kaz has done. The screen is the same, as I told you. The odometer is the same. Everything else in the car is same. We've also got a sunroof. That car's also got a sunroof. So the Asta has the softer suspension. The Asta is more of a city use car, more of a family oriented car, and the N-Line is more of a youth car, you can say. It's got more of driving comfort, more of driving pleasure, more of driving handleability. Giving you a driving experience of 70,000 kilometers. The car is very easy to maintain. The parts are very cheap. It doesn't go heavy on your pocket at all. The only difference, again, I have put bigger tires right when I bought the car. So we've put one size up tires. The stock i20 N-Line and the Asta have 195, and wherein we've put 205 on the one we're driving right now, my Asta, and that has hindered the mileage a bit. That is it. But that tire upsize upgrade has given us more rideability, comfort, more gripping on the road, and everything feels as much as close to the N-Line just because of the tire upgrade and nothing else. We've used this car pretty much. I drove this car to Indore and back once. That was Madhya Pradesh, and that is roughly about 650 kilometers from here. So I drove it back and forth to Indore, and it was amazing experience. It was an amazing experience, and it didn't feel like I've driven an i20 that far. It gave me a very good driving feel, and it was just three friends, and yes, pretty much I had loved the drive to Indore, and I've taken it places even far, and it's never given me any sort of trouble. The brakes handle very well for long routes as well. They don't heat up, they don't feel spongy. They are spick and span and very, very picky. They pick up very quickly, they stuck up very quickly. Rest about both the i20s, you can evidently find out the differences. There's no much difference, as I've told you. The prices don't vary so much. The price difference is about roughly 70,000 odd figure on both. The Asta is 70,000 cheaper than the N-Line, but the N-Line came in later, and that was the only reason we couldn't buy the N-Line. And in that 70,000, they've given a lot of differences. Even the cosmetics, the performance, the exhaust, and everything on the N-Line is more sporty compared to this one. And for 70,000, that's a lot of difference. So I would any day prefer the i20 N-Line, because you get a lot of it. You get a lot of things in the N-Line for that money, for that price value, and that's honestly a good difference for that money. Because to be honest, if I spent 70,000 right now on this car trying to mod it, in 70,000 we're not able to go beyond an exhaust and a tune, wherein in 70,000 by the company OEM factory settings and factory setup, there's a lot of differences given in the i20. So the i20 N-Line is gonna be the preference any day. So see you guys on another episode of MD's Exclusive Piston. This was it for today. Peace out.